Coming up from behind, they put up a constant pressure. We're about getting towards the, in fact, just over the halfway point. Grandal it is that leads them through. Lucas from Czechoslovakia into second spot. Pontoni moving up into third. They race against each other so consistently, sometimes twice a week, these riders. They know their strengths and weaknesses, and they'll be just looking right now for somebody to fade. Djernis, I think, is a crafty one of this little lot, the Danish rider in the middle of here. I tapped the side of my nose when we were talking together with my commentary friends from Germany and France when we decided who was going to win this one. I said, well, look, Djernis, he had a bad patch in the mountain bike series when, I forget his illness or accident, but he was out of contention. He came back and won the mountain bike championship, and he's been up there very steadily in the cyclocross season so far here. So he hasn't overdone it, and he had a bit of a rest as well, even in the middle of the cyclocross season. They've been sensibly pacing himself, and so that's Djernis in the red and white colours. 30th last year at Leeds. He didn't like that at all, but second in 1990, now lying third in this little group here. So Grandal still leading this group through. He's been consistently near the front, the Dutch rider. And still, hello, Frischnett's dropped off the pace. Looks strong, doesn't he, Grandal? You don't get to be champion of Holland unless you've got all-round ability. And with these championships, though, whether it's your national one or the world's one, that the day, the course, your condition can play a lot of part in it, but you've got to be very seasoned rider to get up and get medals at any level of cyclocross. And right now, each of these riders, it'd be fascinating if we could just get their thought process printed up down the screen. It keeps changing, doesn't it, all the time. They're up, another look at the course. They're up to that little pink bit at the top at the moment. Down the right-hand side, the Patens is where they're left, Arrivo is where we'll finish. Never going much more than about 20, 30 feet above the lowest part of the course. And not as much running this time as we've seen perhaps in other championships. And I think the riders will be happy for that one. There's nothing worse for some riders than the long old mud plug. Well, it certainly suited Stuart Marshall. I remember watching him win the juvenile championship in junior championship in Belgium when the mud was right up his street in 1986, and he clomped away in that. He was a tall, long-legged cyclocross with experience as a cross-country runner. My good friend with the bald head and the cameras there, just nipping out of sight. Watson with a battery of cameras to get some good pictures. Graham Watson, one who follows of the sport in Britain, has turned out some superb pictures in his time. I've spotted him whipping across there, so the magazines will be full of his action shots after this one. This is a very, very quick race. Probably one of the quickest I've seen for some time now. Well, the sound echoing across the whole of this course, because as I said, a lot of Swiss competitors getting their support from the Swiss cowbells, and the tifosi here, the Italians, who are fervent supporters of cycle sport, to have their champion of the world on home soil, near his hometown. Oh, that's going to be one of the problems in this race. So far they've kept out of trouble, except for that early surge at the start when that crash happened and put one or two of the riders out of action. It just made them sort of hiccup and get a new bike and what have you. But nevertheless, at this sort of speed, they've got to be very careful, because one touch of wheels, and if you drop maybe about 10 seconds back, you're going to have a job to get back up with this group again. So just hang out a little bit further back than it would do in a road race, but trying still to find that fastest line. Now then, we've got something like about 20 minutes left. So I was just watching then. So this is where they're going to finish down this finishing straight. As at long last, he's gone on the front, nipping out at the front there. So we've seen the German rider deciding that he should perhaps nip off the front. This is rather surprising. I said before, I wondered whether he was lying dog at the back, but they've let him go. Surely they're not going to say we saw with Kluge last year when he flogged off and left everybody, and they just couldn't stick with him. Well, nobody seems to be bothered at the moment. They looked across him. Grunendahl had been doing all the work. He decided not to chase him. And now these 5 have let him go. So Ralf Berner is away down the road, and look at them, whoops. Perhaps they're saying, well, we've seen him ride before, he's not that good, but we'll pull him back at some point. There seems to be a complete lack of interest in pulling him back now. And that took place, I was saying, when that camera was picking up the ride before they went into the road stretch. But watch it on the next lap. There seems to be at least 2 or 3 different lines as you come round towards the road section. And I think probably, says he again, touching the side of his nose, this race could be won or lost if it is down to a sprint finish on that little stretch before they turn right into the road. They're beginning to lap some of the tail end riders now. Just shows you the speed at which these riders at the front have been going around here. That is absolutely mad. That's the Romanian rider, Lupas Emil Pavel, by the way. Nice to see these Romanians come and take part. I know some of these nations are very underfunded when it comes to sending their riders off to events. You can imagine the number of people that have to go. I was talking to Brian Cosavella from the British team. He's got a load of people like Jeff Shergold, chief mechanics team, Barnes is his assistant, Simon Byrne is looking after the pros and also helping with the junior race. Peter Hargroves is a mechanic there as well, and Jamie Norfolk's dad's over as well. John Durland and Jim Blunt are in action as well. And the soigneur that the Brits have got, a fellow called Diego Maggio, who was born in Trieste, although he lives in England, and that's just 70 kilometres away. And in fact, they surprised his mother by nipping around there to see her as well. So that's the sort of size of a squad. Paul Maddox, who's the soigneur, he's with them as well. So it's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's at least 10 or 12 people, together with Brian Furness, the press officer they brought across, backing up the team. So you can imagine this little Romanian rider has come all the way with his bike, I suggest, and perhaps nobody with him. And it's very expensive if you're going to try and ride for medals to have all the equipment and everybody out there. But good luck to all these competitors. They're taking part just for the sheer hell of it. So no chance of getting a medal. Imagine that Romanian has come all the way here, and he's been lapped now. And here we have our leader. Berner is really taking, I think, this race. He's looking so smooth. We saw the same thing happen before with Kluge last year, when he just romped off the front, and that surprised everybody because they didn't think he was going to do it, and then he was gone. And that's about 5 seconds. I was pressing the wrong buttons on the watch then in the confusion, but that's an interesting move by the German rider to attack. So is something around about 25 minutes left to go. He's right down there in the distance, isn't he? So this is going to break it up. They've got to go for him now. This lot can't sit together, and I think the danger's been recognised. And Frischnecht, I think it is, it's going across. It is. If Frischnecht's going, then that means Pontoni's got to react to this one, and they're pulling him back. They're going for him now. That was a lovely move. Picks up the number 29 leading. Well, we're getting amongst the lap riders now. This yellow colour, that's a lap rider. Don't worry about him. So there's our leader, Berner, coming through. Frischnecht is after him, and the gap I make is 5 seconds. Then we've got, sorry, Djernis after him at 5 seconds. Frischnecht at 9. Pontoni is at 10 and really ripping away. He did it so easy, didn't he? There he goes, running up that slope. Berner takes the lead. Ahead there, 84, that's a Ukrainian rider. Davudov. And the rest still are in that group there. 12 seconds down. They're not fetching it back at all. Crossing the steps, number 29, leading the race. There he is, looking strong. Very comfortable, very smooth. So there was I wondering whether he was playing doggo at the back or whether he was struggling. And now we know that he was really just getting his breath back. Djernis at 4 seconds.